Good morning, guys. It's Friday, March 15th, the Ides of March. Beware of the Ides of March. Not really. We're doing good. I'm going to start scoring the Vindex. I told you I was going to do it, and here it comes. So like right here, this week's Vindex number is 10,003. Last week's Vindex number was more. It was 10,805. You see that right there? And then the week before that was 11,173. What is that? That is like a VIX, volatility index, kind of a profit quotient-ish number as a market as a whole. It's a very sophisticated, it's not an algorithm yet. I'll try to get it to that point, but it's where we're taking tons of data that we have internally and externally and merging it all together and weighting it the way that we see best fit. And we came up with a Vindex index. That's the reason I named it Vindex. Anyway, if you look at this chart, you'll see where it was in December. 72.41 is what the Vindex showed for the month of December. And then January, 78.75. Then February, 96.15. And in March as a whole so far, it's 10,000. As March right now, it's 10,003. Actually, if I averaged March together, you'd take the first week of March also and average together. And that's what we're doing. I'm moving this Vindex report to our GiveMeTheVIN YouTube channel, because this show channel is for my radio show. It's kind of TA, rock and roll, fun, and goof nuts. And I mean, please stay on it. But I wanted to get this more serious dealer-only report in a different space so it doesn't get convoluted as much with the public, if that makes sense. So if you go to the GiveMeTheVIN channel on YouTube, that's where we are going to start posting the Vindex reports, these weekly updates, and we will stop doing them here shortly, maybe this week, but as soon as we can, and get them off of this channel. Bitcoiners are back. Bitcoin is up to 68,500. So just to put that in perspective, November 2022, it was down to 16,000. Massive change. $52,500 differential in Bitcoin. And if you go back to the Vindex and start chasing backwards, you'll see when the Bitcoin flattened out that these Highline cars changed a lot. Also in the Vindex, I will bust it up into subcategories that make more sense to your particular space of the market that you trade, because just looking at it globally is not fair. It's true and it's accurate on a big picture, but for you guys that really want to trade off of this, you need more accuracy in your space. Note cars, midline cars, muddy mile cars, obviously trucks, and then they're in the same space. I could bust this up into a gazillion categories where we'd never get done. But for right now, today's Vindex number is 10,003. That's from this week's auction results. And I also take Bob Hollinshead's auction results from Pennsylvania. And I take some other factors in as well. And it's real-time data. This is as real as it gets. It's better than MMR. MMR is about the particular car. This is about the market. And I can guarantee you that your paychecks will move up and down and your profitability with these Vindex figures. Just absolutely guarantee it, unless you're blind, deaf, and dumb. Note cars are still on the run, but the right ones, I'm going to get into some note car details in a minute. I don't want to get into the weeds too deep just yet. I do want to talk about these Bitcoiners are back. So these heavy cars are stiff. They're doing fine. They've recovered some, and I believe it's from the Bitcoin boom. And the guys that buy those cars, I mean, who buys $300,000 cars besides mega rich? But there's a lot more of them made today, and they're in music videos, and they're in movies, and there's this forum, and that forum, and this guy, and that. Everybody's into these, they're really passionate about these exotics. And those younger generation are Bitcoiners. And when Bitcoin starts running, they start having money to buy these cars. I think it's that simple and stupid. I could be wrong. This is just an idea. Tesla trucks. Here's the latest transaction so that you can keep up with it. 244 was the first one when we did the first one. Then we did 222, then 95, 195, right? Then 189, 190, 174, and 170. There was one, I'm on the road this week. I'm in California right now. We sold our Lane and Cade on Wednesday, and we postcarded one in at 174, and another dealer sold one in Cade for 170, and I did not hear if one sold in PA today. I don't know. So anyway, the last wholesale transaction on an auction block on a Cybertruck is 170. So now you know what I offer for a Cybertruck, not more than 170 if you want to make a wholesale profit on it, more than likely. But you know, I'd probably try it there. I don't know. We'll see. Where's that market going to settle? It all depends on supply, of course. I think we've come down from 244 to 170 in 3 weeks. So I bet she lives right around here. We thought she'd live around 200, and we were wrong. So I could be wrong on this, but I think that it'll start to stabilize in this 170, 160 number. I don't think this rapid meltdown of a change of price will continue to occur. Car brand reputation. There's a publish out this week. Surprise, surprise, Lexus number 1, Toyota number 2. What is a surprise is BMW number 3. I mean, BMWs, I love them. I'm driving a 2024 M7 right now, and it's probably the best car I've ever driven in my life. I would rather drive that than a Rolls Cullinan if you're into that. It is. I'm out here in California, and we had one in stock, and I pulled it to drive while I was out here, and it's just absolutely incredible. However, BMWs, Mercedes, Germans, when they're over $80,000, they are still shit. They still break. They're worse than they ever were, and I don't trust them. The next on the list is, so here it is, Lexus, Toyota, BMW, Honda, and then Nissan. Jaguar quit. Boys, we're done. Turned it in. Tata Motors stopped production of Jaguar. They're saying that they're going to come out with this all EV line. If you want to buy Jaguar, call Tata, because I can guarantee you they're going to sell it. Jaguar's done. They are not. The dealers don't know what to do. They have shut down production on Jaguar. I'm sure that the warranties are still in working, but in parts. But other than that, they're not building any more new Jaguars. What will that do to the market? We sold a couple on Wednesday, and they did just fine. But everything did just fine. I mean, it's spring. 0% rates. Now, I want you to look at this chart right here. I want you to pause this video and read this chart, because this chart will tell you where the holes are. When you're trading for any of these cars, stop. Put your book away. Put everything away. Use your brain. These cars are oversupplied. They're going 0%. They're terrible, and they're terrible against the market. You're going to lose money when you take that car to the auction unless you buy it right. What is right? You be the judge. Or call one of our buyers. We'll give you a spot bid on it. But if you call them, use them, man. Don't jerk them off. Don't waste their time. If we'll help a guy all the time for free that we're doing a lot of business with, but the guy that calls us once a year, unless he's going to sell us something, we're not. That's not what we do. We'll give free insurance, but we need to do it with someone that's a partner and someone. We'll lose money. Plenty of you guys that are watching this have sold us plenty of cars, and you've watched us make money on these cars, and you've watched us lose money on the cars, and that's what we do. We run an average. But buying one car a year that's an EV that's on the 0% list, don't expect a big stretch, because the odds are we're not going to hear you again for another year until there's some weird car that's on a recall. Speaking of recalls, Honda has a lot of recalls, and the independent guys are going to buy them up and sell them. They don't give a damn. The Honda dealers are holding them because they want the warranty money, which I don't blame them. But, and also speaking of recalls, I do want to get into these note cars. So let's take a 2015 Optima and a 2015 Optima. One of them is 115,000 miles, and the other one is 123,000 miles. I believe it's 120 where the factory warranty is on the engine recall. Now note this, and this is important. On the Carfax, it will show if the software updates were done. If the software updates are not done on these recall cars that they asked for, then the warranty is invalid. So if you got a software update at 80,000 miles on your Kia Sonata or Optima, and you did not do it, then when the motor crater's at 110,000 miles and you take it in, they will not warranty the car. They'll tell you to get bent because it's your job to go get the software update. In a lot of cases, those are reflected in the Carfax that the software update was performed. Sometimes when you're looking, my point in this is when you're looking at two cars and they're the same cars and you don't understand why one sold for $6,000 and one sold for $8,500, this is what I'm talking about. This is a good example. This engine recall. If it's 115,000 miles, and it brings 8,500, then it's 121,000 miles, and it brings 5. Why? Well, that's because after 120, it's out of factory warranty. And these Optimas and Sonatas are known to have crater-ass engines. the arteries clog up on them, right? And they get stuck and they blow. It happens all the time. You've had it happen. I've had it happen. We take it to Kia. We take it to Honda. They say, no, 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 the customer didn't change the oil enough. Well, no, really what happened was they built a defective motor and they did a software update to fix it. And if you don't take the update, then you don't get the warranty. 2010 to 13, I believe, Traverse transmissions and timing chains are terrible. And that's when you see these when you see these note cars, really start changing value between 110 and 120 or 80 and 105. That's what it is. How much life is left in her? That's what they're buying. How much life is left in her? So, understand when you're praising these cars and you see 140, that is so different than 120. Especially on 4-cylinder engines. And the bigger the engine, the more it can take. So the 8-cylinder Chevy trucks, well, these big V8s, 140 bring all this money. Yeah, because they're big V8s and they turn at lower RPMs and they make a longer life. I know that the, LS series of trucks and trannies, they'll go 200,000 miles. So I'm not going to teach everybody all this right now in one setting. This is why we are needed. This is why you are needed. This is why expertise makes a profit and lack of expertise loses a profit. And we lose all the time. Nobody can know all this stuff. AI can't know it because there's no database to go pull all these little incisions from. Maybe over time they will. But none of us are in fear of losing our job at this point. And even with this Vindex thing, John, you're, turning the used car market into a marketable security. Yeah, I'm going to try, but it's going to take a while. And it's starting right here, right now with you guys. And you're part of it, and we appreciate it. We appreciate our whole dealer, wholesale family and base, and it's fun to improve things. And we have, and you have, and here we go. 08 nice Nissan, 08, like 08 to 12 Altimas. The CVT transmissions on them are $4,500. Altimas and Rogues, Versas, that's why didn't this car bring any money? Because that's why. Because it has a biological problem. That Johnson boy, his daddy was a outlaw, his mama was an outlaw, his daddy's daddy was an outlaw, and he's going to be an outlaw too. I don't want you hanging out with him. Family characteristics, the genes. These cars have them, and you got to know them if you're going to trade them. Because they do get judged, they get racially profiled differently, and it brings different money in the market. Well, how was MMR $7,000 and this one brought $4,000? Well, it's because MMR was compiled of a bunch of 70 to 80,000 mile cars with a couple of 20s in there and 40s, so it's high. And we drug 130,000 mile one across the block, and that's a different animal. MMR has nothing to do with that. There were no transactions when you looked. Maybe that one, but it had an asterisk next to it, so it was an outlier and didn't score up. It's your job to know. It's my job to know. It's our job to know. So anyway, the market's good. It is clicking down. The height was 3 weeks ago in February. And when I say clicking down, I mean just tick, 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 tick. But if you were in the lanes this week, you saw it, you felt it. I saw it, I felt it. It wasn't just here. It was in Pennsylvania. It was in California. It was in Dallas. It's across the country. This car market's like blackbirds. You know how they just move all together at once and you don't know why? Who's signaling all the blackbirds? Who is making this 1,000 birds all turn left or right at the same time? I don't know. But this car market is very similar to that. Are there regional and geographic changes of that? Absolutely. Are they much smaller than they used to be in the 90s? Yes. In the 2000s? Yes. Every decade it changes. It gets tighter and tighter and tighter. And what the tightness is what? Transportation. What's the cost of transportation? From this zone to the hot zone. Where's the hot zone? Why are note cars higher in the South than they are in the Northeast? Because people in the Northeast are more educated and the average credit score is higher. They all went to 4-year colleges. They have better jobs and make more money. The South's not that way. So they can't get bank financing. Hence, the note car business is better in the South. Why do people drag the cars from the North to the South? For that reason. They bring more. If you don't believe me, ask Drive Time. This is this week's Vindex. My name is John Clay Wolf. Remember to subscribe to Give Me the VIN, Give Me the VIN YouTube channel, because that is where I'm going to start putting these every Friday. I think I'm going to keep doing them Friday. Probably Friday. Thanks. See you in the lanes next Wednesday.